quis amar, mas tive medo. Quis salvar meu coração. O amor sabe o segredo. O medo pode matar teu coração. Água de bebê, camarada. Água de bebê, água de bebê, camarada. Água de bebê, água de bebê, camarada. Água de bebê. Eu nunca vi coisa tão certa. Entre pra escola, perdão, minha casa vive aberta. Abre todas as portas do coração. Água de bebê, água de bebê, camarada. Água de bebê, água de bebê, camarada. Água de bebê, água de bebê, camarada. Eu quis amar, mas tive medo. Quis salvar meu coração, mas o amor sabe um segredo. Medo pode matar seu coração. Água de bebê, camarada. Água de bebê, água de bebê, camarada. Água de bebê, água de bebê, camarada. Água de bebê. Eu nunca fiz coisa tão certa. Entre pra escola, tu perdoa. Minha casa vive aberta. Abre todas as portas do coração. Água de bebê, água de bebê, camarada. Água de bebê, água de bebê, água de bebê, água de bebê, camarada. Água de bebê.
Oh man, that is so great. I love that. Oh.
That was fun.
And João Luis, is that the guitarist?
Yes, he's amazing. He's so amazing.
Yeah, that was just amazing. All amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my guest today, Clarice Assad. I'm really, thank you. I'm honored that she's here, and I'm intrigued, and really I can't wait to talk and find out all about her perspective and everything about you.
Thank you so much for having me on your show.
You're welcome. I'm just doing a few other little things so I can be a little more prepared. But that was really wonderful. I mean, when I have read what you have said, about yourself. Or maybe it was when we first communicated. Um, you kind of led me to believe that you didn't consider yourself like really a singer, but I don't know. I don't know why you say that because your singing is fabulous.
Maybe because it's called imposter syndrome or something. Because I never had like the proper training,
Yeah,
all of that stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but you probably know from your whole history coming up. It's not. I mean, training is wonderful, and it adds to what you're delivering, but that is not really the bottom line of what the creation is about, is it?
No, that's true. That's true. And then if you count the endless hours I've tried to come up with the sounds and stuff, if you count that as practicing, then yeah, I've studied the voice in an like not non-traditional way.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's obvious to me. I mean, there's so much about it that I love. I hope you don't mind me gushing a little bit.
No, no.
But because I'm not that my opinion is God, but I have very strong opinions about vocalists because I've been one all my life, and I just do. I have strong opinions. So, but I really there's certain things about your singing that come to light that I love. First of all, your connection to, well, not just rhythm. I mean, that I would expect from you at being the composer and player you are as well. But in singing, when you're a really great singer, you you have an eye on your own rhythm, and you join together in the universe with the other players. But you don't change your rhythm because of them. You play, but you have a steady, solid connection. So that's one huge thing for me.
Mm.
Um, Also, hopefully, as we grow and we become artists, but especially vocalists, through our voice, we are making these statements and emotions of who we are and what we think, right?
Yes, yes.
And you do that really well too.
Yeah, yeah. It's about communicating, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's so important. And to communicate, if you're singing in a language nobody understands, it's even more important. I don't know if you know Carmen Miranda.
Yes.
Carmen Miranda, she came, she was already a big star in Brazil and she immigrated to the United States. Nobody understood a word she was singing because she always only sang in Portuguese. And then she became really obsessive with her hands and her gestures. Like her entire body became like an expression of her singing because she wanted to make herself understood. And I think that's really a beautiful thing. So everything was, she's trying to communicate with, she couldn't with language, with her own body the whole time. The way she danced and she used her hands. It's interesting.
Yeah.
And even her
Yeah.
eyes, like check out her eyes. Like they're unbelievable to watch. Like they have a life of their own.
Oh, I'm gonna have to watch that.
Yeah, watch her eyes, like hands and eyes.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I don't know a word she's saying,
Yeah.
singing,
Yeah.
but I get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Well, I've never heard the emotion that you use on that song on Agua G Bebe. And I mean, like when you went Agua G Bebe, you're like, give me water to drink,
Like,
it's
yeah,
just
I get
great.
that. It is a little bit of a desperate song if you think about it, right? Especially nowadays, you're like running out of resources. Oh my God, has a different meaning.
Yeah. And also your proclivity to um, uh, sounds and improvising with sounds, and
Yeah.
that also is appealing to me personally. I love that, and you can tell, or I can tell, that you have worked on that, and enjoyed it, and it's really become a large part of you
Yes.
because you're really good at it. It's just happens. It's really
Yeah,
great.
it takes time, right? It's just like
Yeah.
it has to become second nature.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I do love the voice. I love the voice more than I can, say in words. I really love it. I love all kinds of singing and, styles. Like, as you know, like I'm putting out this podcast with so many singers from all over the world.
Tell us about the podcast.
Oh my God. I think, well, I've been studying the voice for many years, like vocal styles of different cultures, different music, countries, all of that for many years. And recently I came across this amazing Indian
Oh,
slash bebop
is
Indian.
she's amazing. I don't have her name written down. What is her
Her
name?
name is Varijashri Venugopal.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to spell that.
That's right. It takes a bit of getting used to, but she became like an internet sensation after she released a couple of videos of herself singing with John Coltrane, giant steps,
Yeah, yeah,
in everything,
yeah.
every little note. You hear every note.
She's
That,
amazing.
that's impressive, you know?
Yeah.
And I've loved scat singing for my whole life. So when I heard her, I was like, okay, she's gonna be my first guest for this podcast that I've been wanting to do for a long time. Just like yourself, like you're interviewing people, you're getting to know them, and if you have an interaction with them, you get to learn more. So I was like a kid in the candy store with her asking all kinds of questions about her upbringing in music. Like she's from India, so she is trained in South Carnatic music. So she sings all the ragas, all of that really interesting, difficult stuff.
Yeah.
And then she comes out and sings, every note of Giant Steps.
Yeah, it's interesting that she decided she loved jazz too. I used to have a man come here. Well, I kind of hosted workshops for years with visiting artists, and so there was a man, Jaman Javeri. Is that his name? Anyway, he's passed away since, but he had kind of proclaimed himself the connecting jazz person in India, and he actually had many singers come from the States, some of whom you and I know, and they would go to India. Javan Javeri, that was his name, and they would go there, and he would. There was a gig, like a hotel gig, that they would sing at 6 nights a week, and then they had totally free lessons from vocal masters.
Amazing.
And so, they came back and they used that, yeah. But um, but and she seems quite young too, isn't she?
I don't know. Like I never asked her age, but I imagine that it's probably like between late 20s, early
Yeah.
30s. It's somewhere in there in my
Yes.
understanding. But yeah, young. And then again, I mean, all these people that I've been interviewing, for the most part, what I find is that whenever they are really kind of freaks of nature in that way that they understand music in such a deep level at such young ages, because they are somehow connected to music through their families, or parents are musicians or something like that.
Yeah.
Rarely, like I've heard of somebody who comes out of that singing or
Yeah.
playing music in such deep level, not involved with where the family wasn't involved,
I
right?
think Jacob Collier came out of a non-musical family.
No, I don't think so.
Really?
Oh, I think yes, definitely. I'm
Oh,
almost sure. Yeah,
you know that you kind of know his history.
I think so. It's the same kind of school of like coming from a family of parents who are in music, and then you grow up with all this music around you, and also like there's something about a kid watching, especially if their parents are really exceptional at what they do.
Yeah.
Kid is growing up watching them do something that they believe they're capable of doing. It's like, oh, it's so easy. They can do that. I can do too. And then, it's the next generation. So they're picking up everything from their parents, and YouTube, internet has so much information. Yeah, this new generation is unbelievable.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
excited to see that. I'm happy. I think it's important.
Well, I mean, you definitely grew up like that because you're, at least what I know about you is that your dad and his brother were incredible musicians, guitarists
Yeah.
who were working and very renowned, right? So you grew up at least with that, I know, right?
For a period of time, yes. They left to Europe to pursue a career in music, and at that time in the 80s, it was really hard to be going back and forth. That there was no money that could, for musicians at the time to really support that kind of lifestyle.
Yeah.
So I didn't see my father for long periods of time. Like it's like a year, I wouldn't see him. That's a long
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
But before that, yes, because they would be in the house practicing 24 hours a day at an incredible level of musicianship. And I was exposed to that. So, yeah, I think some of it got into my head. Now, you can imagine if you have that and you have a lot of interaction with this kid until they are like well into their teens, then you're going to get something like Varijashi.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. She's really amazing. Um, yeah. And then, yeah, I know. Just nowadays, there's this level of um, this level from the younger singers and musicians coming in who are they they're eager for, let's see, how do I put this? They're eager for the real basics, the to commit and accomplish in a very high level those
Mhm.
basics and bring them into the singing. Do
Mhm.
you ever feel like some of those singers kind of miss the heart?
Mm, what do you mean, like exactly? Like make sure.
Well, like they're a little too perfect and they're not uh, opening and allowing, like a more organic creativity to come forth.
I mean, no, I don't know. I don't think so. It depends. I mean, I think that. I mean, in her case, for example, in particular, no, I think everything comes out the way it does because that's just the way it is. Like I remember asking her, like, "Can you sketching? Can you show me something contrasting?" Oh my god! And then on top of singing two different ragas to show me the difference between the two of them, she also sent me um, a vocal line of her singing a cappella, which is already difficult because you have no reference of anything accompanying. So it's pure tone, and she's singing all the notes to a Brazilian choro, which goes pretty fast. She's singing all the notes, and it's like, oh my god, that's amazing. So that's very organic. I think that's very organic. But I know what he's saying. Like there's a lot of uh, inclination to be perfect, right? To sing exactly what the pitches are supposed to be, to sing maybe like a little bit like a computer. All we have like auto tuning, everything needs to be perfect. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that does happen as well. Um, it's definitely happening a lot in pop music, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I don't know what's real anymore in pop music.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we could talk about a lot of different things. My husband worked on the Tonight Show for years as the lighting board operator, and he had stories of people who were using live editing
Oh my
as
God.
they were singing, and
And you
yeah,
think it's harder to do, no? I mean, that's so much more complicated than just like go and sing the
I
song.
know, I know. Are you familiar with Tatiana? Let's see, my friend Vardan works with her. Tatiana, she's Brazilian. She's an amazing singer. Did we talk about her?
No, but I'm waiting for you to say her last name. To
Let me go look and in my iTunes and see Vardan and let's see, Tatiana Para.
Oh yeah, she's a beautiful singer. She's gorgeous. Yes, I know her, and I've met her. Um, I think I met her in 2007, something like that.
Yeah.
We had a real conversation long ago. She's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's also brilliant. I mean, she and this pianist who you would love, Vardan of Sepian,
Uh-huh.
is an Armenian guy, and he's a composer, gorgeous composer, great pianist. And so he and she somehow met, and they have recorded several records. And to see them live, they do both a duo and also within a chamber orchestra. And it's amazing.
I'll check it out.
Really amazing.
I haven't heard her in so long. You know, like we were talking about before we started this. It's amazing how much we actually miss within our own community, because there's a lot of great stuff happening, and sometimes they happen too fast, and you're just like, "Who is that? I can't believe I don't know this person." It's amazing. It happens all the time.
Yeah, like we were talking, and Joyce Glasgow is here, by the way.
Oh, wonderful.
And and we were talking about Joyce introducing you to me, and just the fact that, which is so wonderful to me, to find people that I haven't heard of who are brilliant, and not that I know everybody on the planet or know of everybody on the planet, but I know a lot of musicians, I mean, I've listened to a lot, and it just amazes me that I can meet and come across people such as yourself, that are obviously have a long career, so long, successful career. And I just haven't been in the flow of your line,
Yeah, but it's also kind of like an all over the place career, right? I mean, in my case,
Yeah.
It's difficult to be like, what is it that you do? What does she do again? I mean, yeah, it's difficult because
It is. You think so? Because you're really a composer, right? And then do you consider yourself really a piano player and really?
I don't even know anymore. But yeah, how can I consider myself a piano player when you start comparing yourself to pianists? Then it can't. But my training, like what I've set out to do in my life,
yes,
if I put it this way, from the get-go was like, I want to be a composer. My biggest dream when I was a child was to write for the orchestra, because I heard the symphony orchestra recording of I don't remember which orchestra it was. Maybe I didn't even know, but it was a piece by Mahler, and I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Like, I couldn't. And I just decided, even though I thought it was going to be impossible to ever come to a place where I could do that I wanted to do this too. So that would be my, main thing. And then from there, everything else just happened because I made music with my body, with my voice, and I was always singing and I was always playing piano. So, and at some point I had all these things come together to, to create what I am today, who I am today, I guess.
She's so humble, right, ladies and gentlemen? See that? Oh, yeah, my friend Roland. Yes, Roland. That's another great singer. A Korean singer named Yoon Sun Na.
Yeah.
She's really wonderful, too.
Yeah, I want to get her to the show, actually. Yeah. That's great.
We talked about Cecile McLaurin-Salvant.
Amazing. I remember that once I went to Doha, Qatar, for, I think it was supposed to be 3 months on a residency through Jazz and Lincoln Center.
Oh.
And then when I came back, can you imagine, 2 months away? And then I went back to New York after being 2 months in the Middle East. It was a shock. And I was there talking to the people at Jazz and Lincoln Center, and I saw a picture of her. I just had to see a picture of her to know she was amazing. I didn't even have, and it's like immediately like, who's that? Who is that? I want to know. Like I was like still like tired from all the flying, but I went home and I listened. So I was like, okay, that was very nice. That was a very nice welcome home. She had posters everywhere. Like she had finally like broken, into the scene because she used to go and sing the jazz after hours sets
Oh,
at Dizzy's.
yeah.
Like we just like walk in there and then bah! Yeah, not
Great.
very long. She
Yeah.
became, yeah.
Just a great singer, great instrument, and also just fully knowing. She was doing when COVID first started. I don't know how many she did, but I saw one that was a 2-hour hang with she and her pianist, whose name is a very interesting name, and I can never quite remember his name. Yeah, I forget his name. Anyway, they were in their apartment, and they were just, it wasn't like a show, it was just, they were going through really varied material, because she can sing lots of different styles.
Yes,
And yeah, it was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
that's wonderful.
Yeah. I think what I want to do is show another musical moment. Is that okay with you?
It's your show. You do whatever you want.
It's my show. Yes. Okay. Let's see. Well,
Well,
here's.
that's fun. You have to email it. I like it.
Beautiful. Let's see. I had a few. Let's see. This was this the date that you did this? July 7th, 2012?
Hmm. Maybe. I think it was even before that, a little bit.
Oh, here's March 25th, 2012.
Yeah.
And this was the Symphony of Parnassus. And where is that?
This is okay. This is a concerto that I wrote for myself. And whenever you write something that is not a commission,
Yes.
you usually don't have anybody to premiere the piece. So I have some friends in San Francisco because I worked as a primary arranger of an orchestra there called New Century Chamber Orchestra, the only strings. And Dawn Harms, the conductor, she started conducting on her own. And then there's this really wonderful community orchestra called the Parnassus Symphony that she was guest conducting. And she said, let's just do a piece there. Because at that point, I had not even heard that piece. It was all in my head. And then I handed them the scores and we did it. It was very like last minute thing. So there are 3 movements and they're all really kind of intricate, except for the second one, which is you're looking at. And everything that you could possibly imagine going wrong went wrong that day, including the microphone not fitting exactly into the mic boom stand. Because when I pick up the microphone, but like I had to edit my own concerto in real time.
Oh. what the audience doesn't see.
And actually they did see, I mean, the whole beginning of it was like a clown, circus show with Dawn trying to, entertain the audience. She's great at that, by the way. Entertain the audience while people figure out my microphone situation. It was.
She was a beautiful conductor.
Oh, she's great. And she's a fantastic violinist too.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. I love the way she conducts. Yeah, I interviewed a world-renowned conductor last week, and he's a friend, Larry Livingston, who he was also like president or dean of several big colleges, universities, and he's also he's really an interesting man, extremely positive, really accomplished. He especially loves conducting youth orchestras, and he's done it all over the world.
Oh, that's great.
And he's inspirational, and he's friends with a man who I've known. I've known in different ways. He's an author named Stephen Nachmanovich. He wrote a book called Free Play, Improvisation and Life in the Arts. And that he wrote that about 30 years ago, and it was kind of one of my Bible books. He's a violinist, an improvisational violinist and speaker. And anyway, so those 2 men are friendly, and they started doing a Monday night hang on Zoom with some of their students and a few other friends, composers and people who are, into conducting or improvisational actions and thinking, really, really interesting. So, sorry, that was kind of an aside.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. And I think it's so great to do work with, going back to the youth orchestras. So important to have that be an exciting thing, right? Yeah.
It's really gorgeous to see when you see younger people so committed and doing the highest ethical job that they can do and creating.
Oh, and they are so great. Last year I had, was it last year? Yes. I had a piece, I wrote a piece, I got a commission to write a piece for the Boston Youth Symphony Orchestra. And then, oh my God, really the level of musicianship of these kids is unbelievable. And the conductor was Benjamin Zander. He's incredible. He's also like a motivational speaker. It's like a really great combination to be like a conductor and a motivational speaker, because the students have so much to grab onto, not only his musicianship, but the way that he speaks.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like, he'll make you do anything because he's so excited about life,
That's the same with Larry Livingston. He's also a motivational speaker.
Oh my
They
God.
they also have him do that. And one interesting thing I thought, when he travels and he conducts, he he makes it a point to learn each player's name.
Oh yeah.
So he doesn't just say, okay, the back
The
violin,
bassoon. The bassoon, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he actually speaks to them, and so he gets a different reaction. Let's see. Just going to see these questions. Yep. Joyce, yeah, well, we already answered Joyce, the year in the orchestra. Roland said she's got to explain that trill effect she does at the beginning, almost like a flutter tone on a flute.
Oh, it is exactly that. And translated to the voice, it's mostly done with your nose, like by humming. And then you change the shape of your mouth to create all these overtones and harmonics. And then if you really close the microphone, you can actually hear. It's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's beautiful.
it's a combination of effects. I mean, these are like all written. Like the way that I wrote the concerto was just like you would write a violin cadenza. Really, you write every note. Everything is written. Every little note, every little sound, and how to be performed is written on the score.
It's very beautiful, and I was wondering as I was listening, is it my imagination, or is it something about a Brazilian point of view of music? There's something, because the music that that I listen to that's Brazilian has something very special. I don't know if I can put it into just normal words, but it's deep. It's deep harmonically, and it moves. The movements that kind of move together and in and out are really intriguing, and that's what I heard that. But I'm not sure if that's just your style of writing, or is it? Do you think it's part of having the Brazilian culture, musical culture in you?
You mean for the particular movement that we just played?
Yes, yes,
Oh, well, yeah, maybe. I mean, this is a little bit of a combination of new romantic style of
yes.
gospel music. So there's a little bit of Rachmaninoff entries of a piano. I mean, there's similarities of the way that the orchestra is being used, in some of the piano concertos for that period of time. But also Brazilian music, especially early 19th century Brazilian music, has that element that you're talking about. There's something a little bit very like overly dramatic and very romantic and longing kind of beat to it. It's no longer like that. It's like an old way of writing.
Hmm.
That's exactly what I wanted to accomplish in this particular movement.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was like all about like I mean that was like such a selfish concerto, right? Like, I'm writing for myself to play and sing, and it's about my musical history. But part of my musical history is the music that I grew up listening, played by my grandfather. So it's a little bit of that. So you're right on.
All right. I'm right on. Yeah, well, that's really interesting. I'm glad that there was a real answer, and I wasn't just, you know, going down a rabbit hole that was, odd. Was this piece ever recorded?
Professionally, no, and there's a very good recording of it, which I unfortunately cannot use
Oh,
because of. I mean, I could use if I paid a lot of money, but it would be a lot of money. You're talking
yes.
$50,000 to $80,000 worth of music, not music. Sorry, of money to get the rights,
Yeah.
and yeah, it would be a very complicating thing to do. So it hasn't been released. Maybe in the future, it is a piece that I performed a lot, but then for reasons that, union reasons and stuff, you cannot use it post. The reason why I could post this one movement is because they were a community orchestra and these were friends, so I could just go ahead and do whatever I wanted.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
By the way, you got a little softer. I'm not sure why.
Sound wise?
Yeah, and I don't know if there's. Anyway, I turned you up, but I can't hear you as loud now. Um, and hi, Laurie Bell. Yeah, isn't she wonderful? The really great flautist, Laurie Bell. Just you would love her. She's great. And sorry, I'm going to say your name wrong, I think, but Sichan Waktol. I was totally broken when the love of my life left me. It was so hard for me, and I almost gave up, if not for a friend who directed me. Oh, yeah, this is like not anything to do with the music. So I'm going to delete him.
Now I want to know the rest of the story.
Okay. Yeah, yesterday I got something like that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wish them a very, very
Yeah,
this is hard.
exactly.
Great.
Yes. And you are apparently, Joyce said your voice has gotten soft suddenly also.
I don't know what to say. Nothing changed here.
Okay.
So sorry.
Well, we never know because it's, it is what it is. So, let's see. I'm curious when you started becoming a professional writer, composer. That's really what I'm curious about, because playing and singing is a little more forgiving, I think. Oh yeah, join the band or sing for this party or but composing is, I think it's a little higher level.
Well, yeah, it's about many things. It's about passion, right?
Yes.
And getting experience.
Uh-huh.
To get experience, you can't just expect to be fantastic, especially if you're writing for a lot of instruments. You need to have a way of practicing, right? So I got really lucky when I became an arranger for this orchestra I mentioned earlier, the New Century Chamber Orchestra, because I got to experiment with real musicians who could play anything.
Now, before that, were you in school or?
I went to school. I studied composition in Chicago. I got my bachelor's in music composition. Then I got my master's degree at the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So after that, I went to New York and became a freelance, like doing all kinds of gigs you can imagine, and writing for anything that played. I was gonna wrote for anything that moved. I wrote for anything that played that made sound.
Was it were you writing for jazz or for classical mostly?
Mostly from, yeah, I would say classical. It's not really classical, but like contemporary music, right?
Yeah.
And then melding all these styles together, all this wonderful combinations of music, like the rigidity of classical music with the not so rigid styles of Brazilian music, which has so much amazing syncopation. All of the music that comes, the rhythms that come from Brazil come from Africa for the most part, and the rest of it is from the indigenous people. So, oh my God, you have a lot to work with. It's amazing, right? So that was what I set out to do, a little bit of unconsciously, right? Okay, how do I create a voice as a composer? Because I'm really definitely a fruit of the Americas, I would say. I am Brazilian, and I grew up in Brazil, and then I came to the United States when I was in my early 20s, so like late teens, right? So I feel like I'm this product of the Americas, really. And so I guess I'm making American music in the whole of it, like the entirety of it, like not just north or south. I'm like trying to mix everything, the best parts of it, hopefully, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
But that did not answer your question.
Not really.
Professionally, you have to do the same as any musician. You know, you make a lot of contacts. You show up consistently, and I love to ask people like who I work with or write for, what is it that they love? What is it that they like to play? So that I can get inside of their heads and write something for them that they will go out in the world and be able to really communicate to their audiences. You know, that's how I think about it. Not many people think that way because a lot of composers are going to say, oh, you have to stay true to who you are. But I feel like I can be all these different things and still be true to myself, you know?
Yeah.
But it's the same mechanics. No, like I did get like, I would say an early break long time ago because of some people that recorded and played my music when I was quite young. So that was definitely something that was helpful, but it's not the same as in pop music where you know, you get a break and air sensation overnight. No, nothing like that. No, but it opens doors. And then by, you know, showing up and being, you know, I think very disciplined about your work. Eventually, you know, it's a long term kind of thing. It doesn't happen like that. Very rarely it does in this field.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm still climbing. Like I don't know where I'm going, but I you know I feel like I'm still like kind of getting to the point where, including like that includes not just opportunities, but also how your language as a musician develops over time, right?
Yeah.
That's how I feel. Like. I hope I answered your question better this time.
Yeah. You did. You did. That was great.
Okay.
Um, so, uh, my friend has written something that I'm confused about. This is actually, I was telling you about some friends of mine who are great musicians and Brazilian and South American. And one is Otmaro Ruiz, who is a brilliant, he's really one of the most brilliant piano players I know. And his wife is a great piano player, composer, singer. Also, she's Brazilian, Catina de Luna. And anyway, but Atmaro, I'm I don't think she mentioned marine biology. You didn't mention marine biology, did you?
Not today.
Yeah, I'm not sure where you got that, Atmaro. That is really
I did go. I almost went for that in my life. Actually, that's very strange.
oh, maybe he read about you.
I don't know. Maybe
Mention
that was
that
my
somewhere?
second. Like, if music failed, what would you do? Marine
Really?
biology.
Okay, well, that's probably where he's getting it because we didn't mention it. And he said, my dreams of marine biologist ended very early in the career. The first time I was separated from the piano while collecting water samples for weeks at a remote location. So he was curious, how did you get into that? That is so weird. he must have he must have read that or seen it or googled it or something.
So many interesting things happening right now in your feed, Kathy.
Very. Um, yeah, you would love Art Morrow. He is the quintessential musician and human being and creative and brilliant. He's really, I can't say enough about him. He's really
Yeah,
wonderful.
I'm gonna have to check them out. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Um, let's see. So we won't talk about marine biology though. He did read about you though.
music,
Um,
music went well. So
right. So let's see. Um, as you can tell, I'm super prepared with all my questions written out, but I kind of like the organic way of flowing from one subject to another. Yeah.
yeah, that's good practicing.
Yeah. What are you, what were you doing leading up to this whole surreal situation? And then what happened afterwards? What are you doing now?
Well, I before this happened, I was touring extensively. So I was going to continue touring, but I had also taken quite a few commissions for several projects. Two of them that I'm working on right now are actually taking up all of my time.
Oh, nice.
And I'm glad I'm not traveling because I don't know how I would have done that if I had been on the road, because I'm writing two operas.
Oh,
I'm working on a children's opera with an all American cast, and then I'm doing a hybrid opera in Brazil.
what does hybrid mean?
Hybrid means all kinds of different types of singing you can imagine, not just related to the operatic trained voice, but also there are going to be different singing traditions involved. So
Wow.
people who sing in Arabic, people who sing flamenco,
Oh, wow.
different singers. Yeah, so we're gonna mix all of these voices together, and it's a highly interactive, like I mean immersive. Sorry, not interactive. Experience with visual, a lot of visual stuff. So it's not just a musical experience. It's going to be more of a multimedia experience, right?
Nice. So I'm sure there are different situations, but for these two operas, do you compose the music first, or do you work together collaborating with the story? How does that happen?
It's always the same way, really. The composer works, unless the composer is working on both libretto and music, the
Yeah.
composer works with a librettist. And for the most part, the libretto needs to be completely done before the composer writes a single note. And that is just for, think about it, if you're writing the music for something that's going to be constantly changed, you're never going to finish the music, right?
Yeah.
As it is, even if when you have a libretto that's completely finished, you still do revisions and you do rewrites. So let's say you wrote an incredible scene that you love, and then you're talking with the librettist and the singers and the dramaturg, and then they say to you, they give you feedback that no, it's not as good as you think, and then they point out all these problems that, like, oh, you have not scored properly here, and we need some music that will reflect what's going in the text, which you overlooked. How am I going to set this into a theatrical, space? Oh my God. And then that's when you start rewriting. And then you're talking about voice types and different singers who can do different things. It's unbelievable. Like, it's an incredible process. And I'm really happy to have um, amazing singers and mentors to work with. It's not a walk in the park. Yeah.
Interesting. How many hours a day do you generally work on that?
It's more like, how many hours a day do I get to sleep?
Oh, okay.
It's really intense. Like, sometimes you have like a 4 to 5 hour Zoom with each singer singing the part. So you fix everything and you make sure it's in their voice, make sure the text is coming through in an intelligible way. Sometimes even if it's an open or closed vowel, it makes a whole difference in how the text is delivered. It's amazing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can imagine on that.
Yeah.
Interesting. God, that must be
It's exciting if you love to work, but I do. I'm a little bit of a workaholic, so that's perfect for me.
yeah. Do you Oh, I know when we came on first, we were talking about that I was learning Louisa and I was trying to really to soak in the Portuguese and the translation along with the melody so that it would each line would be real to me. And of course, I dream about it. So all night long, I'm thinking of Louisa, and as I said, for me, the first chord and the melody note are healing. It's an experience. So all night, my mind is it's just right. It's like I don't know how many times I must have thought about it, but I
Yeah.
imagine it must be a little difficult sleeping.
Yeah, well, you have a lot of music in your mind constantly, right?
Yeah.
You're not only listening to it, and you're also like writing and repeating it constantly. It's maddening, but I've lived with this my whole life. I've been hearing music in my head since I remember, telling my mother one time I couldn't go to sleep. I was quite young. And I was like, please make the radio turn off inside my head. And she's like, what are you talking about? I have a problematic child. I mean, she got worried about me. It was like, just, that's what it is. It's there constantly. What can you do?
Well, it's a joy. It's a joy too, right?
Mm.
Let's see. Well, you have a wonderful pianist, composer, singer named John Prue saying hello. And Joyce would like to know if you've ever done anything, which is really good. Good question. With Hermeto Pasquale or Flora, Airto, Ivan Lins, or Milton, or other popular Brazilian composers and musicians of the older generations.
Well, I only met Hermeto one time, and I was 9 years old. Hermeto Pascual. Oh my God. My father took me to his place. And then at some point he said, oh, Clarice, go play for Hermeto. And I sat down at the piano and played a little song I had composed. And then at the end, he said, oh, that's very pretty. Let me show you something. And he sat down on the keyboard and he took my little song and he reharmonized it. Probably like he put like every note, he put a different chord on top. I think that's what he probably did. And then after he was done, he asked me, what do you think? I said, I like mine better.
He probably got a kick out of that.
I'm like, he did. He did. He thought it was so hysterical. But like he was doing something perhaps so sophisticated that I like went
Yeah.
way in my head. I was like, oh no, it was much clearer before. Yeah, they're very funny. But that was my encounter with him. It was quite sweet. Yeah, but Milton, I never met any of these people except for Hermeto. Milton Nascimento, I've played a lot of his songs. I am putting out an album with 11 of his tunes very soon.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, I recorded it with some amazing Danish musicians and Italian accordion player. It is going to be very beautiful.
Oh, I can't wait to hear that. Oh my God.
It's coming out. Yeah, it's coming out soon, hopefully.
Wow.
But I never met them like personally. I just have been championing their music because I
Yeah.
love it. Yeah.
Yeah, Milton Nascimento. I remember when my first husband and I, let's see, I don't know how long ago this was. It was a long time ago. David Sanborn had a show, which you can see online actually. It was called something like Saturday Night. And he and another strange person, musician that didn't really seem connected, they had this show where it was kind of unplugged and they would have all these wonderful, wonderful musicians
Mm.
coming on the show and kind of in a very unplugged stage way, they would have everybody play. And the first show had Milton Nascimento and James Taylor.
Oh wow.
And they sang together, and my husband and I were weeping. It was so, you can see it on YouTube. It was amazing.
Beautiful. That sounds like a very beautiful combination.
Oh, yeah, just
Yeah, perfect.
amazing. And yeah, I met Hermeto too because I got this gig in Argentina and for a group of singers that I had together. I don't even remember how I got that gig, but anyway, we did this kind of summer camp, and there were really interesting people who came to teach. It was kind of a small, wasn't huge.
Mhm.
Hermeto was one of the people who came to teach, and
Oh,
that was an amazing experience being present and a bit involved and just around him and seeing him in action. And yeah, it was a wonderful, wonderful experience.
inspiring. He has music coming out of his pores. It's
Oh
amazing.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally an amazing person. Um, let's see. I have a friend who's on who is Israeli, but he's very heavily leaning towards Brazilian. His name is Dori Amarillo, and his father was also a composer, and he's a composer and plays great guitar. But he's asking uh, what you grew up listening to, which we covered a little bit, but her father was a brilliant guitar player. He played with his brother, who was also a brilliant guitar player. I actually don't know. Did you mention your grandfather?
Yeah, my grandfather is now passed, but my father and my uncle, they're still playing, which is amazing. They have a 50 plus, maybe 55 years of playing together. It's amazing, like career wise, like who plays together for that amount of time?
Yeah.
Amazing. But my grandfather played the mandolin, and he came from a family of immigrants in Brazil. His father was from Lebanon, and his mother was from Italy.
Huh.
And the father hated music, abhorred music, like did not want music to be played in the house. But the wife, the Italian, secretly taught him how to play a little bit of mandolin, which makes sense, right? But then guess what? I mean, you combine music, mother, then you have that. Like yeah. And I say we shouldn't carry the last name of the Lebanese guy. We should have carried his last name because the guy hated music. And we are all known as they are known as the Assad brothers of the guitars. And I carry the name, the legacy of a man who really didn't like music at all.
Actually, now would be a good time to play the other link that you sent me, which is with your father and his brother, right?
That's right. That's like was recorded quite a long time ago, actually.
Yeah, this is fabulous too. I mean, just amazing. So, Dory, now you will see exactly where she came from.
Merci beaucoup.
Pour la prochaine chanson, je voudrais inviter sur la scène mon papa Sergio et mon oncle Odaïr.
Fabulous. Apparently, my friend Dory knew of the Assad brothers. He actually was asking, listening. What did you listen to that was inspirational besides the music that you listened to at home, like this?
Oh, everything that, was happening
Yeah,
at the time. Like, my mother loved Brazilian music, so I heard a lot of that. Then there was pop coming out of radio, American pop, Brazilian pop, mostly orchestral stuff that I found, on my own. And then later jazz. I got really into jazz in my teens.
who did you like in jazz?
Oh, I was introduced to jazz actually. I think the first musician I heard was Herbie Hancock playing piano with Jaco Pastorius. For some reason, that's what fell into my lap.
Yeah.
And then I went really crazy from there. Crazy. Still am crazy. The day that I sat, I remember next to Herbie Hancock in an event. It was like a premiere of a movie that Quincy Jones had produced. Oh my God. What a day that was. It was amazing. I had so many questions because I spent most of my teenage years listening to him and trying to understand what was going on. And then I had to ask him, like, what were you thinking, about that passage? And he was so awesome. He would remember that. He even corrected me on a rhythm that I sang. Like, no, it's not da da da, it's da da da.
Cool.
Yeah, we had time to nerd out about.
Wow, that's great. Yeah. Joyce is asking about your aunt, if she's performing a lot, and do you do projects with her?
Well, right now, no, because of what's going on, but she's doing a lot of online.
I'm sorry, I don't know who your aunt is. Would you tell us?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Her name is Badi, Badi, Badi Assad. She's amazing. She's a singer, songwriter. She does a lot of experimental sounds with her voice. Like, that's probably where I got no, not probably, for sure. That's where I got my interest from, She's a pioneer in that stuff.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, so she's doing great. She's doing a lot of online projects right now. Super active and super amazing. We will be doing stuff together online soon because my family has an yearly festival in the city where my grandparents settled like centuries ago in Brazil, in this place. Oh, it's so beautiful. And we couldn't do it this year because of COVID. So we're taking the festival online, and I'm pretty sure the links will be available, for our duets
Wow.
in the next month.
Cool. How does the audience stay abreast of what you're doing on your website?
I would say yes. That's the go-to place for all my activities, to stay up to date. And right now, I know because of the opera, there's not a lot happening. But there's the podcast, which I really, if anybody is interested in checking that out, because I am so excited. And this week I'm going to be editing the conversation I had with Rim Kilani. She's from Palestine. So she's going to talk about maqam and all of that Arabic infused amazing sound. Microtones galore.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's interesting. It's called the Voxploration Podcast.
How often does the podcast go?
Every 2 weeks there's a new episode.
Okay. But and that's a time consuming project as well, the editing part especially, right?
Yes, you're right. It is very time consuming, but then again, it's a project, it's a labor of love, I really enjoy that. And I think it's important to know different styles of singing than the ones that we are constantly introduced and exposed to, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So I have a little personal question here regarding podcast and stuff. So I started this series in March, And it really grew immediately out of me wanting to. I just have a natural inclination towards creating things that help, that connect people, in our community, And so when the COVID hit, I just decided, oh, I have to do something. And maybe actually in the beginning, I was just going to come on and talk myself and invite people to talk. But almost right away, one of my very good singers from Denmark was on, and I invited her to be on. And it just, and then I thought, oh, probably a half-hour conversation. That never happened, a half-hour conversation. Um,
Like 3 hours. Like,
yeah, I mean, really,
play music. I love it.
yeah. But so
Yeah.
more recently, a friend of mine came up with, I think, great ideas to monetize what I was doing and to edit and to sell the edited versions to colleges or NPR or that kind of thing, which is, it's a great idea, but I am not inclined to do that. I don't feel like, I didn't start it as a monetized situation. I don't really want to. What I am actually thinking about, and I keep talking about this and I just haven't started. Excuse me, hold on. Is reviewing each interview and writing down my observations, because I've learned so much, and as you know, in your podcast, I've learned so much, and I've gotten so inspired, and the things that turn me on as a person have gotten stirred up. So I can see writing down that, like making a book, and yeah, I can do that.
Very interesting project, yeah, actually.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I'm just curious. I mean, this is kind of a little aside, but do you think about monetizing your podcasts?
I have not thought about that. Just like you haven't, the same thing. That's not why I started doing this. I think very much like you. I love the idea of bringing people together and connecting. The community. Very much so. That is in a way what I do when I'm out there performing. Because I play with so many different musicians from all over the world. And usually they're playing that particular gig because I got them there.
Yeah, yeah.
As like say the band leader or whatever. So I think this is a gift. I think, right? I mean, you can
Yeah.
use it or not, but I'm just
Yeah.
to use it. And because I was in a position where I was just staying at home, forced by this virus, crazy virus, then that was a way of doing what I already do in the real world, but in a structured way and in a way that would, interest people into learning and finding more about not only like, okay, people know these styles of singing happen, right? They know, but they don't know who are the people behind them. They don't know who these musicians are and the amazing contributions they're making. And that's just another way of them to be found, okay, through my corner of the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's going to happen to it? I have no idea. But as you are too, I'm learning so much, especially because I ask a lot of very technical questions about like, how do you do that sound? How do you make that? And then some of them actually have incredible suggestions of how to go out there and find out how yourself can learn how to sing like that, because these are techniques. And that is something that I haven't really found. Like online, you find everything, but you don't find everything in a very concise way. That's what I'm trying to do. That's my organizing brain. Like, oh, I need structure. Composer in me. Okay, let's organizing those pitches and make sense out of that stuff.
Very cool. Very cool. Let's see. Yes. Yes. Sorry, I'm just reading the comments. Yes, yes. You're number 176, by the way.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let's see. I had something in mind that I wanted to ask, but um, do you write do you write any songs that actually are um, more I don't know how to put this, more they're more like a song that a singer would sing?
I
I don't know how to put that, but
love it. It's, um, yes, I do. I do.
yeah.
I
Mm,
do. Maybe I don't advertise them as much, but I do. I do that. Yeah, I do. There are several songs like that, but usually I don't sing them. Like other people sing them instead of me. You know?
what kind of style are they?
Oh, I have like a couple of sambas. I've never written a bossa nova tune, but stuff like that. I have some. How do you say that? Even like some pop songs that I wrote when I was younger that I'm not, super proud of, like in the sense that I'm more interested in the other stuff that's out there.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why I don't talk about it so much. But
Yeah.
they exist. They exist. They exist. More like like okay, I did this because I felt like it, rather than oh, I did this because it was a commission.
Yes.
That this is my work. The other
Yeah.
stuff I did for fun. Like no, you can't have fun. God knows. Interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, that is interesting. Um, yeah. And do you also find that when you're writing more for yourself, do you write in kind of what call kind of a series? Like artists will paint in red for 2 weeks and then they'll be finished with that. So then they move on. Do you ever write like that? Like you write with a particular kind of sound harmonic thing happening for a few weeks and then well, it may just depend on what your. It sounds like your projects are long, actually. So
Long. They take a long time. But sometimes you go through phases, right? Like there was this phase I went through, which was like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. But I was obsessed with having musicians sing or do body percussion or do something other than play their instruments. Or in addition to playing their instruments, I asked them to do all this other stuff, like vocalize, do all of that stuff. And that was a phase. So to answer your question, that phase passed. I'm
yeah,
no
yeah,
longer interested in that because I did it. I don't want to do it again.
yeah, yeah,
And sometimes I have mixed feelings about that. I'm like, I wouldn't do it again, but I'm glad I did.
yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah.
I wrote a piece for orchestra and audience members. Can you imagine that? Like the conductor was conducting the orchestra, and then I had a big screen behind me, and then I was conducting the audience who read the instructions of what to do on the screen. That was a lot of fun, but that was also a phase.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow, that must have been quite quite an experience.
I know. To get them to sing with the orchestra in time. Woof.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yesterday, as I was saying, we have these meetings with this man, Stephen Nachmanovich and Larry Livingston. And part of the conversation was physically mixing up the orchestra or panel discussion or whatever, workshop clinicians, physically mixing them in the audience
Mhm.
so that there's not this like, okay, here's the clinicians and there's the audience, but it's more of a
The barrier, right?
yeah, yeah. Have you ever done anything like that?
Well, no, in a way, this piece is what that is about. It's a way of having the audience participate in the music in real time.
Yeah,
The only way to do that is if you have, I mean, this is like, you can't just improvise and expect everything to go really well. It has to be structured, right? So
yeah,
everybody needs to play a part in it. Um, I think that the way for this to really, become something really great would be to do this with kids, honestly. Like this is the kind of piece that would work really well for younger audiences. And the when I premiered it was with the Cabrillo Festival Contemporary Music during their Sunday concert, which is packed with children.
Oh,
So it was something like, okay, let's have the kids interact with this orchestra. And let's have a storyline going on. I have no problem making a fool out of myself and audience be the clown. Okay, not a problem, because I can just like after that go and talk to the donors in a very elegant manner. It's just a persona, And I think it's important because we need more people to be interested in this kind of music.
yeah,
You draw them in, and you're not going to draw them in the way that we've been doing this for centuries, right? So that's what I'm thinking about in the background. Like, why am I doing all these weird things? Let's try to engage people. Be like, what is that? At least they stop to listen or look.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Not some dead guy composer and everybody just watching and
Well,
listening.
it's a beautiful
Oh,
thing,
but that's nice too. But I mean,
it has
yeah,
a,
there's a
it is
little bit
a
more.
different world. It's a different world now, Kathy. It's a different world, and this you see that every day. Even like with Jacob Collier, he's amazing. He has a lot of followers, but he doesn't have as many followers as he could have if he was a simpler kind of music, right?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Because most of the people who really love and enjoy and understand what he's doing are musicians,
yeah,
and they are thinking in those terms.
yeah,
And I don't think it should be like that. I think everybody should have access and at least being introduced to music that requires you to think
yeah,
and appreciate, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. When I
But
think
it's a lot
about,
to take on.
what'd you say?
It's a lot to take on, right?
It is. And when I think about, that makes me think about what I desire to give people. It's not, I mean, of course there's many different desires, right? But there's that desire at the moment, at some moment when you're in a universe that is, I call it the God universe, and that you're in that universe and you want to give it as a gift to people because you want them to have it too. You don't want them to have your universe. You want them to have the God universe, and
Mhm.
which of course expands to that we're all humans on the planet together. And oh, don't get me started. I mean, just recently, if anything disturbs me at all, like, about what's going on now, it's like this crushing desire to have people sharing this and to understand that we're all the same. We're all in that universe. We're all human beings. It's like trees are all connected to each other on the planet. Well, that's us too. We're all part of the same thing. And that's probably my uh, most continuous upset under all of what goes on. It's just, oh my God, I just don't, it's really hurtful to me to see that there are people who do not get that at all. They're just, or they don't seem to get it at all.
Yeah.
And which makes me feel as an artist even more urgency.
Yeah, it's frustrating, right? But music is, I think, the nature of music is very collaborative.
Yeah.
It is something that by nature brings some people together, really. Um, be it in the actual like making of music, like you need musicians to make music, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You need people to play together, like at the
Yeah.
same time, so you create harmony. I mean, everything is about what are you talking about, bringing community and everybody playing a role for a greater good. I think music is that, and
Yeah.
that's where we are like. flocking, towards each other like every time. But anyway, this is wonderful. What you're doing is fantastic, I think.
Thank you.
All the people tuned in and having these wonderful conversations. I'm very happy to have been a part.
Well, I want to hear another thing from you. So I'm going to go look, but you sent me 3 links, so I have to go look for another link. But I'm sure there's so much that you're on. Don't you?
Well, there's a very recent one.
Ah, yes.
It's called Sentirá. I'll spell it to you.
Okay.
SEMTIRAR. That would be separate.
Separate.
After the M.
Okay. Sem. Tira.
Then another space after tira. NEM. NEM.
Is that correct?
No. Go back. Backspace. That's so funny. The letter before. Okay. Erase the E. N. E. M.
And that's it?
Space. And then POR.
Holy moly.
But that one, hot with mustard. Sentirá nem pôr.
Okay.
That's a song. That's a real song. That's for you, Cathy. That's a real song I wrote.
Okay. Great. Cool. Well, I'm sorry. I have to stop this for a second. What is Dogs of Desire? Is that the name of the group?
Do you know Albany Symphony? Have you heard of them?
Yes.
Dogs of Desire is the Albany Symphony musicians, all of the principal musicians.
Oh.
Who came together to make this group.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Eu fiz um samba porque tava afim, curtinho assim que nem pipi de querubim. Só pra mim, nem quis mostrar no botequim. Mas o meu samba não se conformou, não despertou, saiu de mim, me abandonou. Disse assim, é que eu nasci pra ser um show. E desde então não para em casa, fica só batendo perna por aí, atrás da fama em que se deitou. Meu Deus, criei cobra com asa, que eu faço com esse aqui que diz que é bamba e bandeira? Iria um samba sem tirar nem pôr, a cara e força do meu mais molambo amor. Lemoine, ele me fez de trampolim. De tudo um pouco samba, sambarcou. Quem é que vai guardar de cor um samba assim? Olha só, me encalacrou. Diz que da criatura tá ficar macinando besteira. Você queria uma miniatura, toma agora uma baita carreira, velho. Volta samba meu, que por mim já deu. Meu amor não é tal carnaval. Fiz um samba assim só de zoeira, não era pra ser descomunal. Era só mais um samba bem banal, desses que nem nada espera, que era um samba beira-beira. samba botando som pelo ladrão, sem noção, quer cutucar a imensidão. Acho que um dia ele me dá razão e volta a ser meu samba bom de pé no chão. Miúde, só pra mim, era só mais um, era só mais. Fiz um samba assim, só de zoeira. Não para de vamos capital. Era só mais um samba bem comum, indefectível, todo igual. Fiz um samba que só faz crescer. Eu por mim no fim botava aqui. Sei que pode haver obra sem final pra quem gosta de dar asa cobra. Vem pra cá, samba, samba de sobra. Fiz um samba assim, só de zoeira. Não para ter fama ou capital. Era só mais um samba bem banal, imperceptível grão de sal. Fiz um samba que não volta atrás. Eu por mim o fim ficava aqui. Sei que vão surgir obras imortais. Tanto faz se eu conseguir, mas a caçamba tem corda demais. Vou ver quem começa a asa do samba.
Oh man, just keep coming up with great stuff here. Oh my God, that was great.
Oh, that's a song you could sing.
That is so cool. What a great song. Now, and also, you know what? This is an interesting point. Your Chinese violinist, she's on this group yesterday with Stephen Nachmanovich and Larry Livingston.
Oh my God, no way.
Yeah, she's a friend of theirs, and yeah, probably Larry Livingston because the conductor. Isn't that wild? That is such a small world, man.
Yeah, it is.
They,
Yeah, so connected.
and obviously there were some of those players are real jazz players as well as symphony players.
Most of them are from the symphony, and then the saxophone players are not.
Yeah, that one sax player looked very familiar.
You can hear that.
A long, skinny guy.
Very serious guy. He's a very serious guy. Very good player.
Yeah.
All of them are very good. This was hard to do because it was remote, right? So the editing was done all post. So everybody sent their own individual part, and putting it in the grid was nothing short of a nightmare.
Was this your editing job or somebody else?
Yeah.
Come
I did it.
on, Clarice.
I did it.
Jeez. What is there something you cannot do?
Oh, no.
Editing. I mean, that was amazing. That was an amazing editing job.
Thank you. That's like, I love doing this stuff if I have the time.
Yeah.
And I enjoy editing. I know it sounds weird. Who enjoys that? I do enjoy it.
No, I understand because I've done a few little small projects, and it taps into the same stuff. So I understand why you would like it. But have you done that for a long time?
No, this started with the pandemic. I mean, the video editing started long ago because I took it as a hobby. But audio like that, no, because I never had to do this before, right? Yeah.
So everybody sent their parts to you? You sent like the basic parts out, then they came back, then you took the parts, you did it in a program like Logic or something like that, and then also edited?
No, nothing like that. They recorded it against a click track and just sent that file raw to me. And then I put them on a grid in Logic. Actually, I used Logic for that. I think it's so much easier to use. Anyway, so yeah, and then I had to, like, sometimes they would be a little bit behind or a little bit faster. I would line them up one by one so they would be playing together. Yeah. And then the percussion I didn't do. The percussion was Keita Ogawa, that guy was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yes.
He thank God, because that would have been a nightmare for me because I'm not a mixing engineer, but he's incredible. He mixed all his percussion and gave it as one thing for me.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he plays with Snarky Puppy.
Oh, okay.
He's incredible.
Snarky Puppy.
I know, there's so many. Mike Lee.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that was amazing. And I'm curious, are you one of those type of singers, because you've been singing for so long? Do you practice singing at all?
If you call trying to sing a song practicing, then yes.
But you don't do vocal techniques kind of stuff?
Vocalies, no, no, not really. Like, most of the time I will sing with the piano, and my goal is to sing not with the piano, but against the piano.
Yeah.
Like, as if I was two different people. Like, the piano is there, but the singer is in another. So that's my practicing, and that takes a lot of, I guess, consciousness, to be able to do that, so that you can sound like two people are playing.
Well, I mean, technically speaking, your singing is really beautiful.
Oh.
You're very relaxed, and you have this, I always like to talk about the body as a glass and the water is what's happening what's happening. And you're just, you really, you're very relaxed, and you produce the sound in a really healthy and wonderful way, but, when you speak about voice technique, you always talk about stuff like healthy and words like that.
You are a teacher, so of course that's what you'll be watching for.
Yeah.
Clearly. Okay, I know that, and that is the kind of thing that I cannot spot easily because I do not have the same training, but you have it, so it's great to hear that from you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Let's see. A lot of people commented on that, by the way. And Andrea Welper.
Oh yeah, she's a great friend.
Yeah, she's a friend of mine. She's a very creative, wonderful person, and her husband also creative, wonderful.
They're both great together. They do a lot of improv together. It's fantastic.
Yeah. They were on the show, actually, which is really nice. That was fun. And we were so inspired that we met again for drinks online.
Oh, nice. That too. I didn't know that. After hours with Cathy.
Exactly.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, let's see. And that song. So you said that was one of your songs that was one of those songs I was asking you about. Like, you just wrote a song.
That's right. Exactly. And then you know what's so funny? Because that's what the guy wrote. I didn't write the lyrics. It was a friend of mine.
Oh.
The lyrics are all about that.
About what?
A song that just wanted to be a song.
Oh.
It became so much more. Because, like, I wrote the song, I forgot about it, and never wrote it down, never recorded. It was just in my head. And then I got a commission from David Allen Miller, the conductor, and he said, well, we're commissioning composers to do something collaborative because of COVID and everything. Would you like to contribute? I said, sure. And he said, just please don't write anything depressing, because, like, everybody was writing like this depressing music. And he said, just write something fun. We're like, okay, what is more fun and for a Brazilian than a samba? I don't think
definitely
anything else is more fun. Like,
yeah,
happy, it's the most happy, the happiest rhythm we have. So like, well, I'm going to put that samba down, but then I created that monstrosity of an arrangement, right? It's like it never ends because they have the capability of playing. Like, okay, let's do it. So the lyrics are all about that. Like how I just came up with this little simple melody, and then it became really with this orchestra.
I love it. I'm going to have to play that over and over again.
Yeah, I'll send you the music score if you'd like to take a look at it.
Oh, yeah. My husband's probably going to be coming in and going, "What? Are you listening to the same thing over and over again?" Yes, I am.
Fun, because like there's so much information that the first time around you just missed a lot of it. Yeah, even I missed them when I first heard. Like, what am I listening for? Like, so many lines.
Yeah, it was a really wonderful, wonderful arrangement. Yeah, and yeah, just great. As I said, I'm going to listen again and again. um, well, you probably want to move on with your day. And so I want to thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
Really nice of you to
Pleasure.
join us. And I know that now you'll have definitely some new followers. And yeah, especially me. Well, I was a fan when I first heard you. I was a fan, so now I'm even more of a fan.
Oh, and now you're gonna have to come to my show.
Okay. Well, gosh, I'm not at the level I think with with who you're doing, but I will definitely come and watch your show for sure.
Oh, you'll be a guest. We'll talk.
Yeah. Oh, Mara was trying to talk a little bit, and yeah, I need to hook you guys up. I'm going to send you guys an email.
Wonderful.
Together, he and his wife and you. Clarice is based in Chicago, Admiral. And anyway, yeah, so I'll hook you guys up.
It's a wonderful city, windy city. It's getting to be cold now. You guys
The room, the room looks pretty cool, just empty like that, except for, is that a beanbag chair or something?
Yes, this is a beanbag. Isn't it nice? Like nothing to look at, nothing.
Great, I love it.
I love it too. It's my reflection right
now. Well, listen, you have a great day. And I'm just going to tell people that tomorrow I have actually 2 people in during the day. Every now and then I have somebody from a country that's, is just the time thing is, like Japan and Australia. They just can't get up at 4 a.m. and be my guest, So tomorrow during 12 to 2, I'm interviewing Pierre Chambers, who's a singer who's actually kind of starting more of a solo career because he was singing with a small group, like a Lambert, Hendricks, and Ross group. But he's the son of Paul Chambers, the great jazz bass player. Wow. So he's a really nice guy. He's a poet. And yeah, so we're speaking. And then at 6 o'clock, I'm speaking to a friend who's a really good arranger, big band arranger, especially pianist, composer, teacher named Jonathan Katz, and he lives in Tokyo. So that's tomorrow. So that's going to be.
You're going to be busy tomorrow.
I know. It's an unusual day.
Yeah, it means a lot to me. Thank you.
Thanks, Clarice. So great to hang with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'll be in touch.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye. Bye, everybody.